Eli, the calm and collected strategist of Team Vortex, sat at his station, fingers dancing over the keyboard with precision. He had a knack for reading the game, anticipating his opponent's moves, and orchestrating his team's strategies with a level-headedness that often left his rivals frustrated. Across the stage, Nova, the fiery top-fragger of Team Phoenix, was a whirlwind of energy. Her fingers flew across her mouse. Her eyes locked onto the screen with an intensity that could ignite a fire. She thrived on adrenaline, making split-second decisions that often turned the tide of battle in her favor. As the final match concluded, the scoreboard flashed. Team Vortex emerged victorious. The crowd erupted into cheers, but Eli's focus was on the opposing team. He locked eyes with Nova during the post-match handshake, a moment that felt charged with unspoken words. There was a mutual respect, a recognition of each other's skills that transcended the competition. Sparks seemed to fly as their hands met, a brief connection that lingered in the air. Backstage, the atmosphere was a mix of celebration and disappointment. Eli approached Nova, who was still catching her breath, her fiery spirit simmering just below the surface. "You played incredibly well," he said, his voice steady and sincere. "Your reflexes are insane. I don't think I've ever seen anyone move like that." Nova, still riding the high of the match, brushed off the compliment with a wave of her hand. "Thanks, but it's not about that. I hate losing. I should have seen your strategy coming." Her competitive nature flared, but beneath her bravado, there was a flicker of intrigue in her eyes. Eli smiled, unfazed by her dismissal. "You know, if you ever want to talk strategies or just grab a coffee, I'm around. I think we could learn a lot from each other." Nova raised an eyebrow, a smirk playing on her lips. "You think I need help from a strategist? I'm good on my own, thanks." But there was a hint of curiosity in her tone, a crack in her tough exterior. As the night wore on, the two teams celebrated their respective victories and losses. Eli found himself glancing over at Nova, who was surrounded by her teammates, laughing and recounting the highlights of the match. He admired her passion, the way she lit up when she talked about the game. Later, as the festivities began to wind down, Eli spotted Nova standing alone, staring out at the empty arena. He approached her cautiously. "Hey, mind if I join you?" She turned, surprise flickering across her face before she nodded. "Sure. Just don't expect me to go easy on you next time." Eli chuckled, leaning against the railing beside her. "Wouldn't dream of it. I like a challenge." They stood in comfortable silence for a moment, the echoes of the crowd still ringing in their ears. "You know," Nova said, breaking the quiet, "I've always thought strategists were boring. But you're different. You actually seem to enjoy the game." Eli turned to her, intrigued. "And what about you? You're not just a top fragger. You're a force of nature. What drives you?" Nova hesitated, her fiery demeanor softening. "I guess I just want to prove that I can be the best. Not just for me but for my team. It's about more than just winning. It's about pushing boundaries." Eli nodded, understanding her passion. "I get that. For me, it's about the thrill of the game, the strategy, and the teamwork. But I think there's something to be said for the fire you bring to the table." Their eyes met again, and for a moment, the competitive tension shifted into something more. A spark of camaraderie, perhaps even friendship, began to form between them. As they continued to talk, the night deepened, and the stars twinkled above the arena. They shared stories of their journeys in esports, their dreams, and the sacrifices they had made to reach this point. The rivalry that had once defined them began to blur, replaced by a mutual respect and a budding connection that neither had anticipated. Calm strategist who had managed to see beyond the surface of her competitive nature. In the weeks that followed the Galaxy Showdown, both teams prepared for the upcoming season. Eli and Nova found themselves crossing paths more frequently, whether at tournaments, practice sessions, or even online. Their interactions, once filled with competitive tension, began to evolve into a friendly rivalry. They exchanged tips and strategies, pushing each other to improve while also sharing laughs and light-hearted banter. Eli admired Nova's relentless drive and her ability to adapt on the fly, while Nova found herself appreciating Eli's analytical mind and his knack for keeping a cool head under pressure. They began to challenge each other in friendly scrimmages, with Eli often taking the role of the strategist, guiding his team through complex plays, while Nova led her team with her aggressive style, often catching Eli off guard with her unpredictable moves. One evening, after a particularly intense practice session, Eli invited Nova to join him for dinner. "I know a great place nearby that serves the best ramen," he said, a hint of excitement in his voice. Nova raised an eyebrow, surprised by the invitation but intrigued. "Ramen, huh? You're really trying to win me over with food." "Hey, it's a solid strategy," Eli replied with a grin. "Plus, I think you'll appreciate the flavors. It's all about the right combinations, just like in the game." Nova laughed, her competitive edge softening. "All right, I'm in. But if the ramen isn't good, I'm holding you responsible." As they sat across from each other in the cozy ramen shop, the conversation flowed easily. They talked about their favorite games, their childhood experiences with gaming, and the challenges they faced in the esports world. Eli shared stories of his early days, how he had to work hard to prove himself as a strategist, while Nova opened up about the pressure she felt to constantly perform at her best, especially as a female player in a male-dominated scene. "I've always felt like I had to fight harder to be taken seriously," Nova admitted, her tone more serious. "People see me as just the girl who can frag, but I want them to see me as a complete player." Eli nodded, understanding the weight of her words. "You're more than just a top fragger, Nova. You have the potential to be a leader, to inspire others. I see it every time you play." Their eyes met, and for a moment the world around them faded. There was a connection that had grown between them, one that transcended their initial rivalry. They were no longer just competitors. They were allies, friends, and perhaps something more. As the season progressed, both teams found themselves on a collision course once again, this time in the semi-finals of the next major tournament. The stakes were higher than ever, and the tension in the air was palpable. Fans were buzzing with excitement, eager to see the two teams face off once more. In the days leading up to the match, Eli and Nova continued to support each other, sharing strategies and insights. They even began to practice together, combining their strengths to create a unique playstyle that blended Eli's strategic mind with Nova's aggressive tactics. Their chemistry was undeniable, and it showed in their gameplay. On the day of the semi-finals, the arena was packed, the energy electric. As the teams took their positions, Eli and Nova exchanged a knowing glance, a silent promise to give it their all. The match began, and the intensity was palpable. Each team fought fiercely, trading blows and executing complex strategies. Eli's calm voice echoed in the comms, guiding his teammates through the chaos, while Nova led her team with fiery determination, her instincts driving her forward. The match was a back-and-forth battle, with each team taking turns gaining the upper hand. As the final moments approached, the score was neck and neck. Eli's heart raced as he calculated their next move, while Nova's adrenaline surged as she prepared to make a bold play. In a split second, she made her move, diving into the fray with a daring maneuver that caught Team Vortex off guard. "Now, Eli!" she shouted, her voice cutting through the noise. Eli's mind raced as he executed the strategy they had practiced, coordinating with his team to counter Nova's aggressive play. The tension in the arena reached a fever pitch as the final seconds ticked down. Nova's expression softened, the competitive fire in her eyes giving way to respect. "Thanks, Eli. You guys really pushed us to our limits. I've never felt so challenged in a match before." She paused, a small smile breaking through. "I guess I'll have to step up my game even more next time." Eli chuckled, the tension of the match dissipating. "I wouldn't expect anything less from you. You're always raising the bar." As the post-match celebrations began, Eli and Nova found themselves gravitating toward each other amidst the chaos. Their teammates were busy celebrating their respective victories and losses, but Eli and Nova shared a moment of quiet amidst the noise. "Hey, I know we're rivals, but I really enjoyed playing against you today," Eli said, his tone sincere. It's always more fun when the competition is fierce. Nova nodded, her fiery spirit still simmering but now tempered with camaraderie. Same here. You make me want to be better. It's refreshing to have someone who challenges me like that. Eli smiled, feeling a warmth spread through him. Maybe we should keep this rivalry going. It could be good for both of us. Or we could team up, Nova suggested, her eyes sparkling with mischief. Imagine the chaos we could create together. Eli raised an eyebrow, intrigued by the idea. You mean like a super team? That could be interesting. But would our teams go for it? Who cares? Nova shrugged, a playful grin on her face. We could just dominate the scene and let the chips fall where they may. Eli laughed, the idea of teaming up with Nova igniting a spark of excitement in him. All right, let's keep that in mind. But for now, how about we grab that ramen again? I think we both deserve a victory meal. Only if you promise to let me pick the place next time. Nova shot back, her competitive spirit flaring again. Deal, Eli replied, extending his hand for a shake. As they sealed the agreement, a sense of anticipation filled the air. They both knew that this was just the beginning of a new chapter in their esports journey. The rivalry that had once defined them was evolving into something deeper, an alliance forged in competition, respect, and a shared passion for the game. In the weeks that followed, Eli and Nova began to train together more frequently, blending their styles and strategies. They would often meet up after practice, discussing tactics over bowls of ramen, laughing and challenging each other in friendly matches. Their bond grew stronger, and the line between rivalry and friendship blurred. As the next tournament approached, the buzz around their potential collaboration began to spread. Fans were excited at the prospect of seeing Eli and Nova on the same team, and the esports community was abuzz with speculation. Would they form a super team? Would they be able to combine their strengths to create an unstoppable force? Finally, the day of the tournament arrived. The arena was packed, the energy electric as fans filled the stands, waving banners and chanting for their favorite players. Eli and Nova stood side by side, their hearts racing with anticipation. Ready for this? Eli asked, glancing at Nova, who was adjusting her headset, her fiery determination shining through. Born ready, she replied, a confident smirk on her face. Let's show them what we've got. As the match began, the synergy between Eli and Nova was palpable. Eli's strategic mind guided their plays, while Nova's aggressive style kept their opponents on their toes. They communicated seamlessly, anticipating each other's moves and executing strategies with precision. The crowd erupted with every play, the tension building as the match progressed. With each round, they grew more confident, their bond strengthening as they fought side by side. In the final moments of the championship match, with the score tied and the pressure mounting, Eli and Nova executed a daring strategy that they had crafted together. Nova charged into the fray, drawing the attention of their opponents, while Eli coordinated their team's movements from the backline, orchestrating the perfect counterattack. As the final blow was struck, the scoreboard flashed. Team Vortex Phoenix had emerged victorious. The arena erupted into cheers, the sound deafening as confetti rained down from above. Eli and Nova exchanged a triumphant glance, their hearts racing with exhilaration. In the midst of the celebration, they found each other again, laughter and joy radiating from them. We did it! Nova exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with excitement. As she sat there, her heart raced at the thought of their upcoming panel at the fan convention. The idea of being on stage with Eli, the very person she had spent years trying to outdo, was both thrilling and terrifying. She had seen the way the audience reacted to their playful exchanges during their streams, and she knew that the chemistry they had was palpable. But now, with the veil of anonymity lifted, she was faced with a dilemma. Should she reveal her identity to him or keep the charade going? The night of the panel arrived, and the energy in the convention center was electric. Fans lined up to see their favorite streamers, and the buzz of excitement filled the air. Nova and Eli took the stage, greeted by a roar of applause. As they settled into their seats, She could feel the heat of his presence beside her, and the thrill of the moment sent butterflies fluttering in her stomach. "Welcome, everyone. We're so excited to be here," Eli said, his voice booming through the microphone. Nova smiled, her heart racing as she caught his eye. They began to discuss their gaming experiences, sharing stories that had the audience in stitches. The flirting was light at first, but as the panel progressed, it became more pronounced. Eli leaned closer, whispering jokes that made her laugh uncontrollably, and the audience loved every second of it. "Are you two dating or what?" a fan shouted from the crowd, and the room erupted in laughter. Nova felt her cheeks flush, and she shot Eli a playful glare. "We're just gaming buddies," she replied, but the twinkle in her eye betrayed her. After the panel, they were swarmed by fans wanting autographs and selfies. As they posed together, Eli leaned in, his breath warm against her ear. "So, are we gaming tonight?" he asked, his voice low and teasing. Nova's heart skipped a beat. She could feel the weight of her secret pressing down on her, but the thrill of the moment made her want to dive deeper into this connection. "Absolutely," she replied, a mischievous smile spreading across her face. "But only if you promise to keep it interesting." Later that night, they settled into their usual gaming setup, the familiar sounds of the game filling the air. As they played, the banter flowed effortlessly, and Nova found herself forgetting about the secret she was keeping. They were just two gamers, enjoying each other's company, and the thrill of competition was replaced by a sense of camaraderie. But as the hours passed, Nova's mind raced. She could feel the tension building between them, and she knew that she couldn't keep her identity hidden forever. The thought of revealing herself to Eli was daunting, but the connection they had forged felt too real to ignore. "Eli," she said, her voice steady despite the fluttering in her chest, "there's something I need to tell you." He paused the game, turning to face her, curiosity etched on his face. "What's up?" Taking a deep breath, she decided to take the plunge. "I'm Nova. The Nova you've been gaming with all this time." For a moment, silence hung in the air, and she could see the gears turning in his mind. Then, a slow smile spread across his face. "You've got to be kidding me," he said, laughter bubbling up. "I should have known. All those times you beat me, I thought it was just luck." Nova couldn't help but laugh, the tension breaking as relief washed over her. "So, what now? Are we still gaming buddies, or do I have to start watching my back?" Eli leaned closer, a playful glint in his eyes. "I think we can still be buddies. But just know I'm coming for that title." The next few weeks flew by in a blur of gaming sessions, collaborative streams, and growing popularity. Nova and Eli's dynamic had shifted from rivals to an inseparable duo, and their fans were eating it up. Their chemistry was undeniable, and the playful banter that had once been a competitive edge now felt like a dance, each step perfectly in sync. As they continued to stream together, their audience grew exponentially. They began to trend on social media, with fans creating memes and fan art that celebrated their unique bond. Nova found herself enjoying the attention, but more than that, she cherished the time spent with Eli. They shared inside jokes, late-night gaming marathons, and even began to collaborate on content outside of gaming, like vlogs and challenges that showcase their personalities. One evening, after a particularly intense gaming session, Eli suggested they take a break and grab some food. "How about we hit that new taco place down the street? I hear they have the best nachos," he said, his eyes sparkling with excitement. Nova hesitated for a moment, the thought of stepping out from behind the screens and into the real world with Eli sending a thrill of nervousness through her. "Sure, but only if you promise not to embarrass me in public," she teased, a smile playing on her lips. "Me? Embarrass you? Never," he replied, feigning innocence. "I'm a perfect gentleman." As they walked to the taco place, the air was filled with laughter and light-hearted banter. Nova felt a sense of ease that she hadn't expected. The transition from online to offline felt seamless, as if they had known each other for years. They shared stories about their lives, their families, and their dreams, and with each revelation, Nova felt herself opening up more. When they arrived at the taco place, the atmosphere was vibrant, filled with the sounds of laughter and sizzling food. They found a cozy booth in the corner, and as they dug into their nachos, the conversation flowed effortlessly. Eli's playful teasing and genuine interest made her feel comfortable, and she found herself laughing more than she had in a long time. "Okay, I have to ask," Eli said, leaning back in his seat, a mischievous grin on his face. "What's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you while gaming?" Nova chuckled, recalling a particularly cringe-worthy moment. "Oh, that's easy. I once accidentally streamed my entire meltdown when I lost a tournament. I was so frustrated that I started yelling at my screen, and my viewers thought it was hilarious. I ended up trending for all the wrong reasons." Eli burst into laughter, his eyes sparkling with amusement. "That's amazing. I wish I had seen that live. I would have sent you a virtual hug." As the night wore on, the conversation shifted to their aspirations. Nova shared her dreams of becoming a game developer, while Eli talked about his desire to create a gaming charity to help underprivileged kids access technology. They both felt a sense of purpose in their passions, and the connection between them deepened. After finishing their meal, they decided to take a stroll through the nearby park. The night was warm and the stars twinkled above them, creating a magical atmosphere. As they walked side by side, Nova felt a flutter of excitement in her chest. She had never expected to feel this way about Eli, her former rival turned confidant. "Hey Nova," Eli said, breaking the comfortable silence. "I know we've been having a lot of fun together, but I want to be honest with you. I really enjoy spending time with you, and I think there's something special here." Nova's heart raced at his words. She had been feeling the same way but had been too afraid to voice it. "I feel the same, Eli. I didn't expect this connection, but it's been amazing." He stopped walking and turned to face her, his expression serious yet warm. "So, what do you think? Should we take this to the next level? I mean, we're already a great team in gaming. Why not in real life?" Nova's breath caught in her throat. The moment felt surreal, and she could hardly believe they were standing there, on the cusp of something new. "I'd like that," she said softly, her heart pounding. "I'd really like that." Eli's face broke into a wide smile, and he reached for her hand, intertwining their fingers. "Great. Let's see where this goes then." Eli's expression shifted from surprise to guilt. "I suspected, okay? I didn't want to ruin the vibe we had going. I thought it would be better to keep things fun." "Fun?" Nova echoed, her voice rising. "You think this is fun? You've been lying to me this whole time." "I wasn't lying. I just didn't want to make things weird," he pleaded, his eyes wide with concern. "I thought we had something special, and I didn't want to jeopardize it." "Special?" Nova scoffed, her frustration boiling over. "You think this is special? You've been playing me this whole time." Without waiting for a response, she abruptly left the voice chat, her heart pounding in her chest. The stream ended mid-match, leaving their viewers in stunned silence. The chat exploded with confusion and speculation, and within minutes, the hashtag #RivalsInLove began trending on social media. As Nova logged off, she felt a mix of anger and hurt. She had trusted Eli, and now it felt like everything they had built was crumbling. The online community was buzzing with drama, and she could already see the memes and posts dissecting their relationship. Some fans were supportive, while others reveled in the chaos, fueling the fire of speculation. Meanwhile, Eli sat in his gaming chair, staring at the screen in disbelief. He hadn't meant to upset her, and now he was left grappling with the fallout. He knew he had to reach out, but he also understood that he had crossed a line. The last thing he wanted was to lose her, but he had to respect her feelings. The next day, Nova received a message from her teammate, Jinx. "Hey, I saw what happened last night. You okay?" Nova sighed, her fingers hovering over the keyboard. "Not really. I can't believe Eli knew and didn't tell me. It feels like everything was a lie." Jinx's response was quick. You need to focus on the leaderboard, Nova. This drama is just a distraction. You either choose the leaderboard or the lover. The words hit Nova hard. Jinx was right. They were in the middle of a competitive season, and distractions could cost them their chance at the championship. But the thought of cutting ties with Eli felt like a betrayal of everything they had shared. I don't know what to do, Nova admitted, her heart heavy. I really liked him, Jinx. But now, I don't know if I can trust him. Take some time to think, Jinx replied. But remember, this is a team. We need you focused. Don't let him pull you away from what you've worked so hard for. As the days passed, the online drama continued to escalate. Fans were divided, with some supporting Nova and others siding with Eli. The media picked up the story, and articles speculated on the future of their partnership, both in gaming and in their personal lives. Eli, on the other hand, was determined to make things right. He reached out to Nova multiple times, but she remained distant, focusing on her training and trying to block out the noise. He knew he had to show her that he was serious about their connection, but he also understood that he needed to give her space. Finally, after a week of silence, Eli decided to take a bold step. He organized a charity stream, inviting Nova to join him. The event was meant to raise money for underprivileged kids to access gaming technology, something they had both talked about during their late-night sessions. He hoped that by doing something meaningful together, he could show her how much he cared. When he sent her the invitation, he included a heartfelt message. I know I messed up and I'm sorry. I want to show you that I'm serious about us. Let's do this for a good cause, and maybe we can talk afterward. Nova hesitated, torn between her feelings for Eli and her commitment to her team. But the idea of using their platform for something positive tugged at her heartstrings. After a long internal debate, she finally replied, Okay, I'll do it. But we need to talk afterward. Close, they had raised an impressive amount of money for the charity, and the chat was filled with positive messages from fans who appreciated their efforts. Eli felt a surge of hope as he glanced at Nova, who seemed to be enjoying herself despite the underlying tension. Thank you all for your support, Eli said, his voice bright and enthusiastic. We couldn't have done this without you. Remember, every donation helps kids get access to gaming technology and education. Let's keep pushing for change. As the stream ended, the chat erupted with applause and congratulations. But as the cameras turned off and the lights dimmed, the reality of their situation settled back in. Nova took a deep breath, her heart racing as she prepared to confront Eli. Can we talk? She asked, her voice steady but laced with uncertainty. Of course, Eli replied, his expression serious. I've been waiting for this. They moved to a quieter corner of the streaming studio, away from the noise of the celebration. The air was thick with unspoken words, and Nova felt a mix of anxiety and anticipation. Look, I appreciate what you did with the charity stream, she began, her eyes locking onto his. But I still feel hurt. You kept a huge part of your life from me, and it makes me question everything we built together. I know, Eli said, running a hand through his hair, frustration evident on his face. I messed up. I thought I was protecting what we had, but I see now that I was just being selfish. I didn't want to lose you, and I thought if I kept things light, we could keep having fun. Fun? Nova echoed, her voice rising again. You think this is just fun? I thought we had something real, Eli. I opened up to you in ways I've never done with anyone else. Eli stepped closer, his eyes earnest. You do have something real with me. Care about you, Nova. I didn't want to ruin that by revealing I knew who you were. I thought it would change everything. Maybe it did, she replied, her voice softening. I don't know if I can just forget about this. It feels like you were playing a game with me, and I don't want to be a pawn in anyone's game. I promise you I wasn't playing a game, Eli said, his voice filled with sincerity. I genuinely like you and I want to be with you, but I understand if you need time to process everything. Just know that I'm here, and I'm willing to fight for us. Nova felt her heart flutter at his words, but the weight of her teammates' warning echoed in her mind. Jinx said, "I need to choose between the leaderboard and you. I can't let my team down, Eli. We're in the middle of a competitive season, and I can't afford distractions." Eli nodded, understanding the gravity of her situation. "I get it, but I also believe that you can have both. You're strong, Nova. You've worked hard to get where you are, and I don't want to be the reason you lose focus. I want to support you, not distract you." She took a moment to process his words, her heart torn between her feelings for him and her commitment to her team. "I need to think about this," she finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I don't want to rush into anything, especially not with everything going on." "Take all the time you need," Eli replied, his expression softening. "I'll be here waiting. Just know that I'm serious about us, and I'm willing to prove it." As they stood there, the tension between them began to shift. Nova felt a flicker of hope, but she also knew that the road ahead wouldn't be easy. They were both navigating uncharted territory, and the stakes were high. Over the next few days, Nova focused on her training, determined to keep her head in the game. She pushed herself harder than ever, channeling her emotions into her gameplay. But every time she logged on, she couldn't shake the feeling of Eli's presence lingering in her mind. Meanwhile, the online drama continued to unfold. Fans were divided, with some supporting Nova's decision to focus on her career while others rallied behind Eli, calling for a reconciliation. The hashtag rivals in love had taken on a life of its own, and the media was relentless in their coverage. As the next tournament approached, Nova found herself at a crossroads. She had to make a decision. Could she balance her feelings for Eli with her commitment to her team? And more importantly, did she want to? On the day of the tournament, she gathered with her team, Jinx and the others, in their practice room. The atmosphere was tense, and she could feel the weight of their expectations. Across town, Eli leaned back in his chair, a nostalgic smile creeping onto his face as he watched an old clip of Nova laughing, her eyes sparkling with joy. It was a moment frozen in time, a reminder of the carefree days when they would spend hours gaming together, sharing secrets and dreams. But now, the laughter felt distant, overshadowed by the silence that had grown between them. The announcement of the co-ed charity match had come as a surprise. Random mixed teams meant they would be thrown together again, a twist of fate neither had anticipated. As the day approached, both felt a mix of excitement and anxiety. Would they be able to reconnect, or would the tension linger like an unwelcome guest? On the day of the match, the atmosphere was electric. Teammates from both sides teased Eli and Nova, nudging them playfully as they gathered in the virtual lobby. "You two are going to carry us, right?" one of their friends joked, and they both laughed, but the laughter felt forced. As the game began, the tension was palpable. Nova and Eli found themselves on opposite ends of the battlefield, their characters poised for action. The initial moments were filled with strategy and focus, but as the match progressed, they began to fall into a rhythm. They communicated through quick pings and voice chat, their synergy slowly returning. "Watch your left," Nova called out, her heart racing as she spotted an enemy approaching Eli's position. He responded with a quick maneuver, taking down the opponent with a well-placed shot. "Nice call," he replied, and for a moment, the weight of their past seemed to lift. As the match continued, the playful banter returned. They exchanged inside jokes, reminiscing about their favorite gaming moments. The tension that had once hung between them began to dissolve, replaced by a sense of camaraderie. With each victory, they felt a spark reignite, a reminder of the connection they once shared. In the final moments of the match, with the score tied and the clock ticking down, they found themselves in a critical situation. Nova's heart raced as she coordinated with Eli, their voices blending in a seamless strategy. "On 3, we push together," she instructed, and he nodded, determination in his eyes. 3, 2, 1, go. They charged forward, their characters moving in perfect sync. The adrenaline surged as they fought side by side, their teamwork leading them to victory. As the final blow landed, the screen erupted in confetti, and their teammates cheered. In that moment of triumph, Nova and Eli exchanged glances, a silent understanding passing between them. The laughter that followed felt genuine, a bridge built over the chasm that had separated them for so long. After the match, as they logged off, Eli hesitated before speaking. "Hey, can we talk?" Nova's heart raced again, but this time it was with hope. "Yeah, I'd like that." As she entered the cafe, the familiar scent of coffee and pastries enveloped her. Eli was already there, seated at a small table in the corner, his eyes scanning the room until they landed on her. A smile broke across his face, and for a moment, it felt like no time had passed at all. "Hey," he said, standing up to greet her. "You look great." "Thanks," Nova replied, her cheeks warming. "You too." They settled into their seats, the initial awkwardness hanging in the air like a thick fog. Eli fidgeted with his coffee cup, and Nova took a deep breath, trying to find the right words. "I'm really glad we're doing this," she finally said, breaking the silence. "I've missed us." Eli nodded, his expression serious. "Me too. I've been thinking a lot about what happened. I didn't mean for things to get so complicated between us." Nova felt a pang of vulnerability. "Neither did I. I guess we both just let things get in the way. I didn't know how to talk to you about it." "I was scared," Eli admitted, his gaze steady. "I didn't want to ruin what we had. But I realized that not talking about it was worse." They both fell silent, the weight of their unspoken feelings hanging in the air. Nova took a sip of her coffee, gathering her thoughts. "I think we both wanted different things, and that's okay. But I don't want to lose you as a friend." Eli's eyes softened. "I don't want to lose you either. I still care about you, Nova. A lot." Her heart raced at his words. "I care about you too, Eli. I always have." The conversation flowed more easily after that, as they reminisced about their gaming adventures, shared their hopes for the future, and laughed at the silly moments that had defined their friendship. The tension that had once felt insurmountable began to dissipate, replaced by a sense of familiarity and warmth. As the evening wore on, they found themselves discussing their dreams and aspirations. Nova shared her plans to pursue a career in game design, while Eli talked about his passion for streaming and content creation. They encouraged each other, their excitement palpable. "Maybe we could collaborate on something," Eli suggested, his eyes lighting up. "A game or a stream together." "I'd love that," Nova replied, her enthusiasm matching his. "We could combine our strengths and create something amazing." As they wrapped up their conversation, the cafe began to empty, the soft hum of music providing a comforting backdrop. Nova felt a sense of hope blossoming within her. They had navigated the rocky terrain of their past and emerged on the other side, ready to explore what lay ahead. "Can we do this again?" Eli asked, his voice tentative but hopeful. "Absolutely," Nova replied, her smile genuine. "Let's not wait too long this time." As they stepped outside, the cool evening air greeted them. They walked side by side, the distance between them feeling smaller than it had in months. Nova glanced at Eli, her heart swelling with a mix of affection and excitement. "Hey, Eli," she said, pausing for a moment. "Yeah, about what you said during the match. About liking being around me. Feel the same way. I think we should explore that more." Eli's expression shifted, surprise and hope mingling in his eyes. "You mean?" "Yeah," Nova said, her voice steady. "I think we should see where this goes. Together." In the midst of the chaos, Nova leaned closer to Jace, her voice barely above a whisper. "I missed you." The words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken feelings. Jace's eyes softened and he replied, "I missed us." It was a simple acknowledgement, yet it felt monumental, a bridge spanning the distance that had grown between them during the off-season. As they celebrated their narrow victory, the cameras caught the fleeting moment, a shared smile, a gentle touch, a spark that ignited the crowd's imagination. The press conference that followed was a whirlwind of questions, but one stood out among the rest. "So, are you rivals or lovers now?" Nova's grin widened, a playful glint in her eyes. Why not both? The room erupted in laughter, but the truth behind her words resonated deeper. Their rivalry had always been a dance, a push and pull that fueled their passion for the game and for each other. As they walked off the stage, hand in hand, the cheers of the fans enveloped them like a warm embrace. The world outside the arena faded away, leaving just the two of them in their own bubble. Jace squeezed her hand, a silent promise that they would navigate this new chapter together, no matter the challenges ahead. Days turned into weeks, and the media frenzy surrounding their relationship only intensified. They became the talk of the town, a power couple that blended competition with romance. Yet, amidst the flashing lights and constant scrutiny, they found solace in quiet moments, late-night training sessions, shared meals, and whispered secrets under the stars. But with the spotlight came pressure. The expectations weighed heavily on both of them, and soon, the playful banter turned into heated arguments. "You're not taking this seriously," Jace snapped one evening after a particularly grueling practice. Nova's heart sank. "I am. But I can't be perfect all the time." The tension simmered, and for a moment, it felt like they were on the brink of losing everything they had built. But just as quickly as the storm had brewed, it dissipated. They found themselves back on the field, the adrenaline of the game reigniting their connection. In the heat of competition, they rediscovered their rhythm. Every pass, every goal, every moment became a testament to their bond. They learned to embrace the chaos, to find strength in vulnerability. As the season progressed, they became not just teammates but partners in every sense of the word. They celebrated victories together, consoled each other in defeat, and through it all, their love deepened. The championship game loomed ahead, and the stakes had never been higher. As they stood side by side in the locker room, Nova turned to Jace, her eyes fierce with determination. "No matter what happens out there, I'm with you." Jace nodded, his heart swelling with pride. "And I'm with you." The game was a nail-biter, filled with twists and turns that kept fans on the edge of their seats. But in the final moments, with the score tied and the clock ticking down, Nova and Jace executed a play that had been rehearsed countless times. With a swift pass and a perfect shot, Nova scored the winning goal. The arena erupted in a frenzy of cheers, but all she could see was Jace, his face lit up with joy. They embraced, the world around them fading away as they celebrated their victory both on the field and in their hearts. As they stood together, hands raised in triumph, the question lingered in the air once more: rivals or lovers? But this time they didn't need to answer. They were both, and they were ready to face whatever came next together.